So recently I just finished season 4 of Rent a Girlfriend, and oh boy, it was a mess. Mainly due to Kazuya doing the same bullshit that he's been doing for the past 4 seasons, and still doesn't learn anything by the end of season 4. But the second reason why it was a mess is because of this one character in particular, Mami, who is by far the best depiction of an anti-yandere in anime. The absolute mindfuckery that she has done throughout season 4 alone is insane. Which is why, in this video, I'll be talking about why she's the best depiction of an anti-yandere, and why I love her character as a whole. So to start, let's go back to season 1. And in the first episode, all we know is that she broke up with Kazuya, which ended up sending him on a whole downward spiral of just beating it and fantasizing about her. Yeah, I can see why she broke up with your dumbass. And by the next episode, we see her just chilling at a restaurant, as Kazuya and Chizuru, the rental girlfriend, are just caught off guard by her appearance alone. You know, because your ex-girlfriend is in the presence of your current girlfriend, and you guys have to sit together at a dinner date. Yeah, from the start you could tell this was gonna be fucked. And hey, would you look at that? I was right. Because the tension here is just really awkward. And Mami even tries to light the mood here by saying to forget the whole exes thing and that she's moved on, and already started dating someone else. Which is complete bullshit, as the later events that I'll go over soon will show that. Because as Kazuya comes back from the bathroom, you see Mami has moved right in front of Chizuru, and not for good reasons either. Because she starts talking about Kazuya's sex drive, and how he was constantly down bad for her 24/7. However, Chizuru steps up to defend Kazuya, and you would think that your ex-girlfriend, who just told all the embarrassing stuff that you would do in your relationship, which is private stuff, that you would tell her off, right? No! He just sits there and takes it. And this scene alone caused 2 reactions. 1, my hate and despise for this dude Kazuya, and 2, the start to Mami becoming an anti-yandere. But before that, you might be wondering, what is an anti-yandere? Well, unlike your average type of yandere who's just overly obsessed with you, and also cares about your well-being, an anti-yandere is obsessed with you, but just to fuck with you and ruin your life. Now this description will make more and more sense as we go on, because as Kazuya is leaving the restaurant, Mami actually ends up running into him, to bait him to coming up to her apartment. Why? Because this scene here put into her head that she could literally get away with anything she wanted to this man. Well then to fuck with him, just because she can. And it gets more solidified when Kazuya got too drunk and started spilling to her, saying that they could go to his place instead, along with a bunch of other stupid shit he shouldn't have said, even though he has a quote-unquote girlfriend at this point. But you know what, I'll give him some credit, because at least he defended Chizuru when Mami started belittling her. However, now she sees Chizuru as even more of a threat, which we'll see as we get to the beach episode, as she insists on inviting Kazuya and Chizuru to the beach to screw with them some more, and as we'll see in a bit, she succeeds. But before that, I want to talk about an important moment that happens within this episode, which is the first glimpse we get of true Mami. What is that exactly? Well, majority of the time when Mami is around people, she's in this constant state of happiness, along with faking a constant smile. However, if she's alone or really pissed off, she looks like fucking death, and is basically the equivalent of the Grim Reaper staring you down, and is one of the main ways she uses her manipulation, either to get what she wants or tear down whatever she wants. Now back to episode 3, where we see her using that manipulation on Kazuya specifically, talk about all the nice times they had together while dating, telling him that those dreams are dead now since he now has Chizuru. At this point, we know damn well that Chizuru's a rental, you know, since that's the premise of the show. So in Kazuya's mind, he's thinking to himself that he needs an actual girlfriend to bring to his family. You can't exactly do that with the equivalent of a day hooker. And just to add more salt in the wound, she pretends to slip in the water and ends up kissing this man. Like, bro, what are we doing? I swear, Mami and Kazuya's relationship is just this song lyric from Super Psycho Love. I love you and despise you. Well, after the events of the kiss, Kazuya thought it was the great idea to break up with Chizuru in front of everyone, to get back with Mami and bring a real girlfriend to his family, in which the goat Kibe here was the only one that saw through this, beating the living shit out of Kazuya, while calling out both him and Mami for both being on bull. That's a real friend right there, man. And one of the few people too that sees through Mami's delusions. Now let's fast forward a bit through the episode, where Kazuya and Chizuru are now on a ferry together, after Kibe gave them tickets to fix their quote-unquote relationship. And while on the ferry, we hear Kazuya's phone ringing. Who's calling? You guessed it, Mami, asking Kazuya to meet with her to talk about something, with Kazuya agreeing to do so, which doesn't end up happening, with Chizuru falling off the ferry and Kazuya diving in to save her, which is probably one of the rare few moments in the series where Kazuya does something and nobody hates him afterwards. So let's give Kazuya a W here. And after the events of this trip, we start to see another split here. We see Kazuya finally start to fall in love with Chizuru while beating off to Mami. But hey, baby steps. And 2, Mami now hates Kazuya even fucking more. Because it turns out, if you flake on a girl while she's wet, literally, after promising to link up with her, she's not exactly gonna be too happy about that. And right after this moment, we don't really see Mami much after that in season 1. Well, until Kazuya's date with Sumi. Also a side note, Sumi is Chizuru's friend, who is also a rental girlfriend but is very shy, which is why she uses the site to help overcome her shyness. So Chizuru tasks Kazuya to go on a date with Sumi to help her out, because she trusts him. Yeah, I don't even trust you dude to shake my fucking hand. I seen his trash can. And as Sumi and Kazuya are walking down the road, we see Mami walking out of the store and spots them, thinking to herself, why is Kazuya out with another girl while he has a girlfriend? And at first, she thinks that he's cheating. Well, let's not get to that section yet, but instead focusing on how she pulled up on Sumi and Kazuya. And it happened so fast too while they were roller skating. Because while roller skating, Kazuya accidentally hits his nose, making it bleed. And he tells Sumi to go sit down and wait for him while he gets it cleaned up. And as soon as this man walks out the bathroom, we see Mami sitting at the table with Sumi just chilling, making her presence known that she saw them together. Yeah, it's just not looking too good for Kazuya here. And Mami here is pissed, because the same dude that she dumped who couldn't get asked to save his life, and beats off more than I do to Rosalina, and every time she saw him after that, he was just with 2 baddies. Yeah, I'm not a detective, but clearly something's not right, which she quickly picks up on, saying that Kazuya completely turned into a different guy since they broke up, and it only took a month to do so. She then leaves and goes home after that, thinking to herself about Kazuya, while also giving us insight about Mami's personal life, like her brother she was talking about in episode 3, and the reason why she chose Kazuya, due to her picking Kazuya because it was convenient. And this is because Mami herself doesn't believe in true love, in which they don't exactly flat out say in the anime. And that's because in the manga, after a traumatic breakup with her first boyfriend, she stopped believing in things like true love, calling it make-believe, which is ironic because what she feels for Kazuya right now is actually love, or spite. I don't know, it just depends on the context really. And with that, she starts searching Sumi's name online, and when she does that, finds her rental girlfriend profile, and pieces together how a bitchless fuck like Kazuya started going out with 2 girls. And with that information, she searches Chizuru's name in as well, and then rents her out on a date at Kazuya's own job. Hey, she may be a hater, but she's strategic as fuck, and you can tell that this tension is heavy on this date. And at first it's just an interrogation of them asking each other questions, which isn't that bad at first, until Chizuru asks why did Mami ask her out specifically, and what her motives were behind it, which Mami didn't exactly like, in which she got up and got directly in front of Chizuru's face, with the karaoke mic in hand. And just look how shook Chizuru is by this, while Mami's just staring straight daggers at her, and then bitches her straight into singing. Thinking about it, Mami would actually make a good pimp. All she has to do is stare and she keeps her hoes straight in check. Afterwards, Mami explains the reason why she wants to rent Chizuru out in the first place, which is to meet the real Chizuru, and not the rental girlfriend act version of her, and to also tell her to stop doing it as she feels bad for Kazuya. Which if you watch season 4, yeah, that doesn't happen. It says to her that as long as he has Chizuru, he'll never find himself a real girlfriend. Which, again, if she actually did care about Kazuya, why dump him in the first place? That one singular chain of events is what caused this whole series to even start to begin with. And also says that it pisses her off in general. Again, that's that super psycho love in her. Afterwards, they leave the karaoke bar, with Kazuya tailing them. You know, cause he was watching them the whole time. And as they talk for a bit before parting ways, Chizuru asks a key question here. Well, I'll let her say it herself.
Tell me, how do you really feel towards Kazuya?
She then started explaining Kazuya's feelings toward Mami, and that he swore to himself that he wanted to make her happy during their relationship together. In which Mami responds to getting defensive, and says... Well, I'll let her explain to herself. Copyright, please don't screw me over.
How do you feel about Kazuya? I think that's the question. All that time acting as his rental girlfriend, you could have fallen for him for real, right?
In which, she's kinda right. Chizuru did eventually start developing feelings for Kazuya pretty early on, but it's hard for her to show those feelings, due to the way that she grew up. so she suppresses him as to not get hurt. So Mami's actually a pretty good detective here for spotting this really early on. So as she's getting ready to leave, after she says that she doesn't buy that Chizuru didn't fall in love with Kazuya already, Chizuru stops her as a last-ditch effort to try to get her and Kazuya back together, which she didn't like. And as Chizuru is spilling her heart out to Mami, Mami pans down and notices that Kazuya has been listening to the conversation the entire time. I hate this idiot sometimes. Why the fuck are you hiding with your legs sticking out? But you could tell Chizuru's speech actually did affect Mami. Well, in both a good and a bad way, because she starts speaking to her in her real voice.
Nice try. Huh? But those things are strictly between him and me.
And after that, she walks off to plot her revenge for the next upcoming seasons. And yeah, that was it for season 1. I plan to make multiple parts to this. Originally, I went to combine all the seasons into one big video, but due to college and me wanting to post a long form video as soon as possible, I decided to split them up. So if this does well, I'll be rushing to get the next one out as soon as possible. And if not, I don't give a shit, I'm still gonna do it. I have a love-hate relationship with this series. I feel like Mami's cycle of demeanor actually adds depth to the series, and actually pushes the story forward. When I get to season 4, I'm gonna have a field day with it, because I honestly do enjoy her character, and it's the best depiction of an anti-Yandere. With that being said, I'll see y'all later, and hopefully it's soon because I do enjoy ranting for long periods of time. Laters!